Hello, there are a couple of things that I want to do in this video. The first is to compare a traditional exit plan that a financial planner would teach you to implement if you are looking to retire in the next 5 to 10 years with eXp's revenue share system, just to illustrate the power of the system. I then am going to explain RevShare 2.0 to you. RevShare 2.0 is the latest revenue share model which eXp has just released. It's very exciting in the last couple of months, and I'm going to explain how that works. And then we're going to end off by looking at a spreadsheet which is going to roughly estimate what your income would be given certain assumptions. And of course, that's not guarantees of income, but it is a pretty accurate reflection of what could happen if certain assumptions are met. Okay, so first of all, if you go to a financial planner and you said, I want to retire in the next 5 to 10 years, one of the questions they would ask you is, okay, well, how much money do you want to earn per month after you retire? And if you were to be very frugal and say, I actually just want to earn 15,000 Rand a month, that's all I need, they would tell you, okay, you can draw 4% out of an investment, and because if you're earning sort of 9% of your investment at Investec or wherever you're invested, about 5% of that is going to be keeping up with inflation, so you don't eat into your capital, and you can draw the 4% out as cash flow, and you can live off that indefinitely. So in order to live indefinitely on 15,000 Rand a month, how much would you need to save? And the answer there is 4.5 million Rand. So in 5 to 10 years' time, you're going to need 4.5 million Rand saved, debt-free, in an investment account so you can draw 15,000 Rand a month out of it. And what if you need more than that? What if you need 80,000 Rand a month? Well, to earn 80,000 Rand a month, you're going to need 24 million Rand saved in an investment account in 5 to 10 years' time. Are you on track? And then I want to finish this little exercise by asking the question, what about true wealth? What if you wanted to be really wealthy in 5 to 10 years' time so that you could travel the world and have holiday homes and that sort of thing? And I'm going to assume a monthly income of R1 million a month. You're going to lose 450,000 of that in tax. But R1 million a month, if you want to earn R1 million a month in 5 to 10 years' time, you're going to need 300 million Rand saved and invested in an investment account. Okay, so I think I can comfortably say that if you're watching this video, it probably means you are not on track to have the 300 million Rand saved, or even the 24 million Rand saved in the next 5 to 10 years so that you could get 80 grand a month worth of income to live off. So what I want to do is compare that with what eXp's revenue share system can do for you, because eXp's revenue share system is designed to produce passive income. And there's 3 questions I want to answer. What is RevShare 2.0, this new model? How does it work? I want to illustrate for you using a revenue share calculating spreadsheet, how much money you might make with it, given certain assumptions. And then lastly, a strategy for growing your own team if that's something that you would like to do. So first question, what is RevShare 2.0? Well, it is the latest revenue share model launched by Glenn Sanford and eXp Realty. This pie chart on the screen is a representation of what happens to the pre-cap commission of any agent at eXp. The capping system is one whereby if you are an agent with eXp, you earn 71% of your commission up until the point you've done 600,000 Rand gross commission. When you've done 600,000 gross commission, you then cap, and from that point onwards, you don't pay a whole bunch of the other fees to eXp. You keep 96% of your commission yourself for the rest of that 12 months. It is a brilliant system, and there are agents in my team earning R1 million a year more just because of that capping system. So pre-cap commission, how does it get divided up? Well, 71% goes to the agent. And no, there are no further deductions. You get paid 71% at eXp. 4% is what is called a transaction fee. That actually goes to eXp International, or the bulk of it goes to International. There is then another fee which is called the company reserve. Now this, if you watch videos for eXp in America, you're going to see that neither the transaction fee nor the company reserve apply in America. The eXp agents in the States are on an 80-20 split. Now they have far higher monthly fees than we do. When eXp came to South Africa and all of the other 24 countries around the world, they said, we are going to lower the monthly fees, but we are going to build in this extra 9% income off their commissions. Okay, so what you lose on the swings, you gain on the roundabouts. What this company reserve does is it meets unique expenses in the country that eXp has gone into that they do not have in America. For example, they come to South Africa and they've got to develop a whole new listing system because KV Core and SkySlope and all the things they use in America don't work in South Africa. So they had to redevelop a listing system, which they've done, called REP, which now they use all around the world. It's expenses like that that the company reserve goes to pay. Then, as far as eXp South Africa are concerned, the revenue that they then run the business with and are either profitable or make a loss, and they are very profitable with, is this 20% of the commissions that eXp get paid from a capping agent's transactions. Now, what is the revenue sharing system? If eXp's revenue in the country where they're in is 20% of the gross commission of an agent before they cap, how much of that revenue that they are making as a company do they share back with the agents? And you are going to be amazed to hear that it is 50% of the revenues. Okay, this is why there is so much money in this revenue share pool that can get paid out. This is why people are getting so wealthy with eXp's revenue share system, because eXp pays out half the company's revenues worldwide back to the agents. It is quite phenomenal. You say, how can they do that? Because they are so profitable, because they don't have any bricks and mortar. Because we're a cloud-based business, we have a huge profitability advantage over the traditional brick and mortar businesses of the old school of real estate. That's why eXp can pay out half the revenues of the company back to the agents. If you have a capping agent in South Africa, by that point, they would have done 600,000 Rand gross commission. How is that 600,000 Rand then divided up? Well, 426,000 would have been paid to the agent, 24,000 on transaction fees, 30,000 the company reserve, and then 120,000 would have been the company's revenue, which half of which, 60,000, goes into what is called the revenue share pool. Now that's what RSP stands for on that slide, the revenue share pool. And from now on the slides, what I'm going to show you is how is that 60,000 Rand distributed? How do you get a percentage of that? Because obviously there's 89,000 agents in in the world, in eXp globally. That is a lot of money that's sitting in. If there's 89,000 agents who are all paying into this revenue share pool, that is a lot of money, hundreds of millions of US dollars. How do you get a portion of it? How is that purple slice of the pie divided up? And that's what we are going to show you here now. This is a screenshot from the slide deck of eXp. So if you go onto eXp's website and you download the official marketing slide deck, or the PDF, this is one of the slides. It's a little bit complicated if no one explains it to you. I've got a slightly simpler slide on the next slide that's going to show you what's going on there. But let me try to explain this to you. The way the revenue share system works is if you sponsor someone into eXp, which simply means you introduce them to eXp. When they join, they put your name as the person who introduced them, which every person joining eXp in the world has to do. You cannot join eXp without listing an existing eXp agent as your sponsor. It doesn't mean they're paying for you, it just means they introduced you. If you sponsor another agent, you show them the model, how it works, they get excited, they join, they put your name down. They fall on what's called your first tier. Okay, that's where you see here, tier 1. The revenue that tier 1 agent pays to eXp gets split, and you then will earn 17.5% of the rev share pool that agent has paid in. Does that make sense? On tier 2 agents, what's that? So let's say the agent that you sponsored into eXp, they've also got a friend that they show the model to. That friend decides, this looks fantastic, I'm joining. They join eXp. That person is now on your second tier. Now this person who sponsored them is going to get 17.5% of the rev share pool on their transactions. You are going to get 20% of the rev share pool on that transaction. And so it goes down. Level 3, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5, tier 6, tier 7. We get paid through 7 generations or 7 tiers of agents that join the company through our introduction. And these are the percentages. So you earn 20% of the rev share pool on tier 2 agents, 12.5, 7.55, 12.5, and 25% on your 7th tier. It's actually our most profitable tier. Now, one last thing I need to show you on this slide. You'll see this blue wedge here that represents your tier 1. Yes, it's normally 17.5% that we get paid on our tier 1 agents out of the rev share pool, but in their first year, eXp this is new to RevShare 2.0 now, they are going to pay you 50% of the RevShare pool that your tier 1 agents pay in. 50% instead of 17.5. Now, that's just for their first year. So let's say you sponsor a lady named Mary. If Mary does deals in her first year at eXp, you're going to get paid 50% of the revenue share pool on her deals for the first year. In her second year onwards, it goes back down to the normal 17.5. Okay, so let's look at a slightly different way of illustrating what I've just shown you. Tier 1 agents, we earn 17.5% of the revenue share pool on their transactions, which if the agent caps, if they do the full 600,000 gross commission, will equal 10,500 Rand that you'll make in that year. How is that paid? On a monthly basis. It's not paid annually. Whenever Mary does a deal and the deal registers, the income gets paid to eXp. They immediately split, they calculate the rev share pool, and they pay out the revenue share. So it gets paid as Mary is doing her deals, and when she caps, let's say it takes her 6 months to cap. When Mary caps, by that point, you would have been paid 10,500 Rand of revenue share on her. And the same is true then of tier 2 agents, tier 3 agents, and so forth down to 7 tiers. And these are the numbers that you'll make on a capping agent on each of those tiers. Now, one last little complicated thing here is, it's not that complicated if you keep your head about you. You have to unlock your earnings on agents in your 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th tiers. Tiers 1 to 3, you don't have to unlock. You earn your revenue share automatically on all of the agents in your first 3 tiers. But once you now have an agent in your 4th tier, you have to unlock your 4th tier. How do you do that? By having 5 or more active agents on your 1st tier. That's what the FLQA stands for. Frontline, that means tier 1, frontline qualifying agents. What is a qualifying agent? It's basically an active agent, somebody who does 100,000 Rand gross commission every 6 months. So it's not a very high bar, but it's a bar. So if you've sponsored personally 5 people on your 1st tier who are active agents, you then unlock your 4th tier. To unlock your 5th tier, you need to add another 5 personally sponsored active agents. Then you've got 10 that unlocks your 5th tier. 15 for your 6th tier, and 30, it's a big jump, for your 7th tier. Right, that's the revenue sharing system. That's how it works. In the very first year of your 1st tier agents, however, there is this fast start attraction bonus, which I've told you about. You earn 50% of the revenue share pool. So instead of 10,500 Rand on Mary when she caps, actually, if Mary caps in her 1st year, you'll get paid 30,000 Rand on Mary's transactions. And if you've sponsored 5 capping agents, that would be 150,000 Rand that you would make in the 1st year as a passive income on other people working as agents. It's fantastic. One last very good piece of news is that at the end of every month, when eXp's global system works out the revenue share, they pay a further adjustment bonus to everybody on top of all of these numbers that you're earning on the various tiers of your agents. How does the adjustment bonus work? Well, if you read this, it says plus unearned revenue share is put back in the revenue share pool and paid out as a further adjustment bonus. Why would there be unearned revenue share? Well, if you look at the model, it kind of makes sense. If any agent does a deal in eXp, now let's think backwards, their sponsor can earn revenue share on that. And then that person's sponsor earns revenue share. It's on his second tier. And that person's sponsor earns revenue share. But some of the people, as you go up the line of sponsorship, are not going to qualify to earn their revenue share on this transaction. If you go 4 tiers up, for example, that person is going to need 5 active agents in order to earn their revenue share here. And maybe they don't have 5 active agents. The next person up is going to need 15 or 10. The next person up is going to need 15. The other reason there may be unearned revenue share is some people in the 7 tiers up from a transaction might have left eXp. Now, what happens to that unearned revenue share? Because eXp would have every right just to keep that money, but they don't. What eXp do is they take all of that unearned revenue share and they put it back in the revenue share pool. And they top up everybody's payments around the world so that the revenue share gets paid out in full. eXp are committed. They will pay out 50% of their revenues every month. So how big is the revenue share adjustment at the end of every month? Well, it's normally about 35%, which is a significant rise. So at the end of the month, if you've got, say, 100,000 Rands worth of revenue share that's due to you, when they do the final calculation and it ticks over onto your dashboard, you'll suddenly see 135,000 Rand, and that's what will get paid to you. Okay, that I hope is a clear enough explanation of how RevShare 2.0 works. You may need to watch that again. How much money can you actually make with this? And that is exactly what this spreadsheet is designed to answer. So this is a revenue share calculating spreadsheet. A couple of points to note up front. This is not a guarantee of income. Obviously, we are going to make certain assumptions and then based on those assumptions, make some projections around how much you would make every month. So at the end of the day, it's going to spit out a number for us based on whatever assumptions we make of your total monthly income. But I would like to think that the assumptions we're making here are reasonably accurate, and so I think it'll give you a good idea. Another point to note is that what we're looking at here is a 5 to 10 year exit plan. eXp's revenue share system is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is a legitimate business model which you can use over the next 5 or 10 years to build up a significant passive income for yourself. So we're going to compare it to the traditional exit plan that a financial planner would get you to work on, where if you wanted to earn 15,000 Rand a month, you'd need to have 4.5 million Rand saved in the next 5 to 10 years. If you needed 80,000 Rand a month, I think the number was 24 million Rand that you'd have to have saved. And for $1 million Rand a month, you were going to need 300 million Rand saved. And what I want to do is compare that with what eXp's revenue share system can do. What we're going to do as we work through the spreadsheet, we're going to change this number here. Now, this number represents the number of agents that you think you could attract personally to eXp. When you attract someone personally, you become what is technically called their sponsor, and that person is then on your first tier. And based on how many people you can sponsor onto your first tier, that is then over a period of time, and it does take time, going to begin to lead to people on your second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh tiers. Now, this exponential growth that you're going to see in these blocks here is going to take time to do, which is why we say this is a 5 to 10 year exit plan. And you'll be amazed by the exponential growth when compared to the number of people you're going to attract, compared to the total number of people that are going to be in your group over a longer period of time. Because of the exponential growth that happens down in the lower tiers, you're going to be amazed at how powerful this system is. Okay, a couple of things that we do need to assume. First assumption is that the average agent in your group, your total group, right throughout your 7 tiers, is not going to be a capping agent. In fact, far from it. We're going to assume that they are pretty unproductive and that they sell only 2 homes a year at 1.8 million, charging 4% on their listing. So their gross commission, before splits and everything, gross commission is going to be around 140, 150,000 Rand a year. Now, that may seem like an overly conservative estimate for you, but on the one hand, I will say that this is actually pretty accurate about what we see across the industry, but also I'm wanting this spreadsheet to be slightly on the conservative side so that we know the number that it spits out here as a monthly income is going to be relatively conservative. The other thing that we do need to assume or project is what the multiples between your tiers is going to be. So in these blocks here, this is where you see the multiples that I'm going to be working with. What do I mean by multiple? Well, for every agent that you sponsor onto your first tier, over a period of time, that's going to lead to X number of agents on your second tier. And if we use a multiple of 3, that means, for example, if you were to sponsor 10 people over a period of 5 to 10 years, that's going to lead to a multiple of 3, 30 people on your second tiers. That's why you see a 30 there, because we're using the multiple of 3. And then we're going to use a multiple of 2 down to your third tier. So for every 10 people you add, that'll lead to 30 on your second tier and 60 on your third tier. And then once we open up those tiers by having more qualifying agents on our first tier, you're going to see that the multiples work with these numbers as well. Now, the question is, where do I get the multiples that we're working with here? Well, if you look at the screenshot at the top here, this is a screenshot of a post that Rob Flick put on his Facebook page a couple of years ago. And Rob Flick's one of the big network leaders in the States. And I loved this. Well, he was just celebrating his reaching 20,000 agents in his group. But I loved it because on the right-hand side here, we can see what the multiples between the tiers are. So he's put 82 people, and he had been in about 8 years, when it was like 7 or 8 years, when he put the screenshot on. From the first tier, he's got 82 people, and over the 7 or 8 years, that led to 360 people on his second tier. So that's the first thing to note, that this thing is so powerful because it grows exponentially. Your second tier is bigger than your first tier, and in this case, by a multiple of over 4. 82 times 4, 4.5 is 360. Now, I'm not going to use 4.5 as our multiple there. I'm going to use 3. So it's a conservative, dumbed down multiple based on what we saw in Rob Flick's group. I've actually seen Brent Gove's numbers, and they were actually even bigger than this. So I can tell you this is a conservative multiple that we're using from first to second tier. From his second to his third tier, you can see it's a multiple of just less than 3. I'm going to use a multiple of 2. Then from his third to his fourth, it's a multiple of 2. I'm going to use 1. And then it's almost 2, kind of 1.5, and then maybe 1.2. I'm just going to go 1, 1, and 1. So again, I hope you agree that the two assumptions we're making, what the average agent is going to sell and what the multiples between the tiers is going to be, are both fairly conservative. And so I'm happy, I have a clear conscience with the numbers that this thing is going to spit out. And I've played a lot with this, and it is very, very commensurate with what I actually earn in my own group. And I've got a pretty big group, so it's a good representation. Okay, so the numbers at the top of this spreadsheet, you should recognize these numbers. This is eXp's revenue sharing model, and I explained that earlier in the video. Now we're going to start putting some assumed numbers into this block here. So how many agents do you think you could personally sponsor in the first year or 2 at eXp? That's what we want to answer here. And I want to show you 3 different scenarios of how you could get to 15,000 Rand a month, or 80,000 Rand a month, or that big number of sort of 800,000 or $1 million Rand a month. Because those are the numbers we looked at with the traditional exit plan at the beginning of the video. So I want to compare those. The last thing that you need to just note on this spreadsheet, it's quite a clever little spreadsheet, is I'm going to assume that not everyone that you sponsor onto your first tier is going to be a frontline qualifying agent. Now remember, you need to unlock your fourth tier's earnings, you need 5 frontline qualifying agents. Those are agents that you've personally sponsored who are active agents. They are doing 100,000 gross commission every 6 months, essentially, which is a very low bar, but it is a bar. For your fifth tier to be opened, you need 10 active agents on your first tier. You need to add another 5 to make it 15 to unlock your sixth tier, and then you need to sponsor another 15 active agents in order to unlock your seventh tier, because you need 30 FLQAs or frontline qualifying agents to unlock your seventh tier. So you're going to see, let me give you an illustration here. If we put the number of 20 in there, only a third of those are going to be active agents. That's 7. So you've not unlocked your fifth tier. You have unlocked your fourth, which is why the spreadsheet has now put a number in the fourth tier column. If we were to increase that to say 30, yes, we've got 10 FLQAs. Now suddenly it's opened up the fifth tier for earnings. Okay, so let's start. In order to earn 15,000 Rand a month, how many agents do you think you're going to need to sponsor personally so that over the next 5 or 10 years, as we see the growth down in your tiers, you'll be earning 15 grand a month? And the answer is 6. So let me scroll down so you can see the income here. It's a total monthly income on your initial revenue share of 10,000 or 11,000 Rand a month, plus the adjustment bonus, and we're assuming a conservative kind of bonus of 35% at the end of every month. That'll take you up to close to 15,000 Rand a month for 6 people personally enrolled. Now, I want you to just stop for a second and think here. With the traditional exit plan that a financial planner is going to take you on, you are going to have to save 4.5 million Rand in the next 5 to 10 years to be able to draw 15,000 Rand a month out of that. Which is easier for you? Save 4.5 million Rand over the next 5 or 10 years, or show this model to 6 agents who say to you, wow, that looks really cool. I'm going to join eXp2, and you've sponsored them. Which is easier? Well, let's take it up to the next level. And let me just make the point. If you want to play with this spreadsheet, you want to play with these numbers, I would suggest you don't go and play with the multiples. Don't go and play with the average sales figures, because actually these are pretty accurate. And you can make a spreadsheet like this unrealistic if you want to. Of course you can. You can make it do whatever you want it to do. But to keep the numbers pretty accurate, the only number you should be playing with is this number here. How many people you personally sponsor. If you want to play with the spreadsheet, look below the video, and there should be a button or a link there that you can download the spreadsheet and you can play with it yourself. Okay, so in order to get to 80,000 Rand a month, now remember, with traditional financial planning, you're going to save 24 million Rand in the next 5 to 10 years. Or you can go ahead and sponsor 25 people personally, and that'll give you 80,000 Rand a month's worth of income. So what would it take for you to show enough agents the model explained video? You don't have to present anything yourself. You just show them the video. In order for 25 agents to say over the next couple of years, yes, this looks good, I'm going to join you. Well, if you were to be able to sponsor just 25 people over the period of time that we're talking 5 to 10 years, your group will grow to about 400 people, and you'll be earning 80 grand a month. Now, I can tell you, I've sponsored 25 probably in my first 4 or 5 months. I sponsored 25. I did go ahead and sponsored more. I've been in 3.5 years as I shoot this video, and I'm now up to 105. But that initial burst took me up to the sort of 25 level. I now have got, even after 3.5 years, I've got close to 900 people in my group, and the income it's a lot more than that. So this is not unrealistic. I am living the reality of the numbers on this spreadsheet. Okay, then the last number we want to look at is what would it take to make genuine wealth? Now, you may say, well, wow, 80 grand a month. I mean, that is genuine wealth for me. That would completely change my life. I'd be able to bring my wife home, or my husband would be able to leave his job and join me in the real estate business, or whatever the case may be for you. 80 grand a month would make a significant difference to a lot of people's lives. But let's talk about proper wealth, where you can purchase properties and travel internationally and be flying business class and doing the things that you've always dreamed that you want to do as a family. Well, in order to do that, let's put 130 in here. Yeah, 130 gives you 950,000 Rand a month's worth of income. If we put my numbers in there, 105, that's going to give over a period of 5 to 10 years, as this exponential growth continues to happen, which is already happening in my case. For example, on my second tier, I already have 296 people on my second tier. So I'm already seeing, after 3.5 years, I'm almost at this multiple of 3 already. On my third tier to my seventh tier, it's still happening slowly. It takes time, obviously, as it works its way down. I've got 218 people, so I'm at a multiple of about 1 there, just less than 1. So I'm fully expecting over the next 5 or 6 years for this continued growth down into the tiers to happen, and for this income to grow to that level and more. I'm already well on the way to that, which I'm very grateful for. So it's a phenomenal model. Play with it, download the spreadsheet below. Okay, the last question I want to then quickly answer for you is, how do you do this? Like, practically, you've never been a recruiter, but you do see the potential of this. How do you go about building a revenue share team? And I've just got some suggestions for you. Number one, decide what you want. It's harder than you think it is to sponsor agents. It's more profitable than you've ever imagined, but not everyone you speak to is going to join you. So you have to decide, I am going to wade through all of the rejection and the people who say no to me in order to find the people that say yes. And that is going to require some persistence. You're not going to do this in the first month. It will probably take you a year's worth of really hard work of showing lots of agents the model for you to build a front line of, say, 20, 30, 40, 50 agents on your first tier in the first year. If you could do 50 in the first year, that's very good going, and you would probably need to show, 10 times that. You probably need to show 500 to 1,000 agents to put 50 on your first tier in your first year. Now, maybe you've got very good relationships with agents in your area and you're well respected. And I will say this, the more well-respected you are as an agent in your area, the easier it will be for you to attract other agents because they respect you already. But the point I'm simply making here is, don't expect it to be easy. You've got to make a decision, put your head down, and be willing to do the work. If you're willing to do that, here's the first thing I suggest you do. Make a list of every estate agent that you know. Do it on an Excel spreadsheet or write it down on a piece of paper. It has to be a written list. And rack your brain for every single estate agent on the planet. They can be in other countries. We can grow our networks into any country in the world where eXp operates. Make a list. Once you've got a list of names, it makes this process so much easier, because then what you're going to do is time block a weekly session. Maybe you're going to do it on Friday afternoons between 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock. You're going to take 3 hours on a Friday afternoon and you are going to make phone calls. All right? Set yourself a goal. I'm going to make 10 calls a week. I'm going to make 20 calls a week, whatever it was. When I was building this thing very big time in the first year of my time at eXp, there were days where I was making 30 calls a day. I didn't keep that kind of intensity up for a long time, but sometimes I'd do that for a full week or a full 2 weeks. And it was those bursts of activity that built my business. So you need to time block out every week, block it out of your calendar so that you don't, it's easy to squeeze this time out. It's easy to rush off to an urgent seller appointment and, I've got this crisis. Well, that's fine. Then in 10 years' time, you're still going to have a crisis. You've got to block time out and say, I have made a decision. I'm going to do this. So time block, time out, and make phone calls. Then book an appointment to get together with them. When you meet with them, first thing you do is ask questions. The worst thing you can do is just, open up the video and press play before you say to them, hey, tell me about your career. Tell me about your dreams. Tell me about what you're happy about at your current company. What are you unhappy about? What would you like that you don't have now? Tell me what you want. That's what good salespeople do in any sale, is ask questions and listen. Once you feel like you've got an understanding and you can hang the eXp opportunity on a genuine desire that they have, if you feel like it does meet something that they genuinely have expressed to you, then show them the model explained video. Where do you find that? www.themodelexplained.co.za. That's where the presentation of how eXp system works. Just show them the video. Don't try to explain it over the phone. It's going to sound terrible. Just say, I want to get together with you. There's an opportunity I want to discuss with you. When can we meet? Keep it simple. Meet them and then show them the video. Once you've finished with that, send them the follow-up resources link. If you go to our Model Explained website, you will see just below the Model Explained video, there is this button, Learn More. If you click that button, it is going to take them to our follow-up resources page. This is a page, as you can see, where literally, if you dive into this page, there are hundreds of videos. If you go into the playlists and presentations by famous people, that was one of the top Keller Williams leaders of all time. 3 reasons principals joined. They can literally get lost in this page. And I have found, if someone does watch the Model Explained video with you, you then WhatsApp them or email them the link to this page afterwards, and they get into this page and they start getting into some of the resources, there is a very high probability that they will join you at eXp if they do their homework. So that's why I say to you, show the Model Explained video and then send them that follow-up resources link afterwards to go and do some more homework. And then book a 3-way call with them and your sponsor or someone in your team of leadership. It is very powerful to bring a third person into the discussion you are having with your prospects, because it's an expert that you're bringing in, and your prospect is more likely to listen to them and take their advice. So it works. Let's finish it off with this. Choose your exit plan. Either, if you want to earn 15 grand a month, you can save 4.5 million, save 24 million, or save 300 million, or you can sponsor 5, sponsor 20, or sponsor 100. Which is easier. I hope that puts eXp's revenue share system into perspective of how good it is. Just want to show you a little screenshot I got 2 days ago from a guy named Neil Robinson in my team. As you can see, he's got a tiny little team of 26 people. His revenue share for the month is 19,000 Rand. And a couple of days later, I sent him a WhatsApp saying, do you mind if I share this with people? And all I got was this. I got another screenshot. This was the next day, actually. The rev share, because it grows during the month, as people in your group are doing deals, he says it keeps going up. His revenue share had gone up to 28,000 Rand for the month. This is with a little team of 26 people, but it was his next WhatsApp that really made all the difference in my mind. He said this to me: I can see my future. This business is such a blessing, but amen to that. It is a blessing. It's been a huge blessing to my family, and I trust it will be to yours too. And I look forward to helping you along the journey.